Welcome once again to Voice of the Coast. The St. Mary Chamber of Commerce recently held its annual legislative breakfast. They do that every year after the state legislature finishes up its special session. We hear from each of our local delegates, and we're going to devote a show to each one of our delegates and the comments they made at the breakfast. So we'll start today with State Senator Robert Allain. I have to apologize for the quality of the video. It was due to the way the room was set up, and really couldn't do anything about it. But let's hear now from State Senator Robert Allain.
Let's talk funding secured. Now this is what we all put in. This is not roads, bridges, and these other DOTD budgets and all these big ticket items. This is just what we were able to secure. For St. Mary Parish, in cash and Priority 1, $9,355,610. And that includes funding for roads, bridges, drainage, sewer and water treatment, law enforcement, communication upgrades, body cam upgrades. And we put that in every municipality throughout the parish according to each one's priorities. And we spread it out evenly to where no one gets left out. Everybody is going to get their fair share of the budget. I feel that's the only fair way to do it. I secured funding for vital service organizations that help the citizens that are in the most need. We got funding for groups like Shea Hope, Center of Hope, ARC, and St. Mary Council on Aging. We secured $5.5 million for St. Mary Parish Courts. So total cash secured $14,855,610. That was huge. This delegation did a lot more than any other delegation, but don't tell anybody that we got that much. My legislation, one bill I did was called the gypsum bill. Gypsum is a byproduct of plants that we have in our area, and it's actually, gypsum is one of the earliest forms of fertilizer. So you see those big piles of it, and before you couldn't do anything with it. It was going to landfills. It was creating problems for the plants. And the farmers, we have a deficiency problem that gypsum helps. So what we did in this bill, and working with the Commissioner Strain, Commissioner of Agriculture, what my bill does is it allows these plants to get it tested. If it tests safe environmentally, if it meets all the standards of USDA, we put all kinds of environmental protections in it. If it meets all these standards, they can give it to the Department of Agriculture, and they will distribute it to farmers. So it's an environmentally friendly bill, it's an agriculture friendly bill, it's an industry friendly bill, and at the same time I put in there some legal protections from liability. So you can't sue the plant, you can't, corporate attorneys at those board levels are not going to look at this bill, and if it didn't have those protections, it was kind of a useless bill anyway. So we put protections in for the plant, the landowner, the farmer, to where they feel comfortable doing that. I have am I on time? You're good. How much time I got? I'm not even time. Okay. All right. I had a government efficiency bill that I wrote from scratch about 8 months ago. I held it. I didn't go through with it. We're still working through some of the things, but basically it's going to do is incentivize state employees that if it is outside their normal job description, if they go find efficiencies, it's a way to reward them with non-refundable tax credits. I'm trying to take what I've built and how I run my businesses and incentivize people at the state level. I think that's important that they get rewarded because where it is now, if you bring something to your boss, oh, well, that's a great idea. I might take credit for that. So trying to think of the state employees at the employee level. Representative Amade covered a lot of the insurance bills. I put 2 placeholder bills in insurance that were germane to a whole lot of other things. As many of you know, as bills are working their way through the system, one may not make it, but I might need another germane bill to tack parts of that bill, to Frankenstein a good bill out of a couple of okay bills. So while one of my insurance bills didn't make it, we used it to advance other pieces of insurance reform. The one bill, HB 356, I work with Representative Broad. It's called the Stated Value Policy Act. And what it's doing is, the way it was before it got to my committee, it wasn't going to get out of committee. It was forcing insurance companies to make this product, and it wasn't going to pass. So we changed that word from shall to may to continue the conversation. And what that bill does, and we'll have another bill about it next year, if you only owe a certain amount on your home, you should be able to pick the amount that you're insured. And those are the kind of discussions we're having. It's not fair. I heard the arguments against saying, well, basically they don't know the risk. Well, if you've paid on your house and you want to make an informed decision on what you're willing to risk, I think that's up to the consumer. So a lot of different bills and thinking outside of the box on insurance, because it's still, in my mind, if not the top, one of the top issues we're facing here. Year in year and year after year increases.
Welcome back to Voice of the Coast. Let's go back to the Chamber of Commerce Legislative Breakfast. Comments from State Senator Robert Allain. And after his regular comments, he took a question from the audience regarding personal security in light of the recent assassination of a state legislator in Minnesota. I want to know what's happening with security for our legislators. So let's hear from Robert Allain.
So flood and storm season prep. Let's move into the issues. So yesterday we had a meeting, St. Mary Parish Levy District, Bill Hidalgo, Tim Mott, Mike Mercado, Parish President Sam Jones, CAO Paul Guggenhall, Mayor Morgan City Lee Dragnon, and GIS Engineering. So what we're trying to do is get plans together. So what we have on this was our first meeting. This is to get our pre-storm plan together. Where are all the pumps? Do we have some on reserve in case? While we have the funding for the permanent fix, these motors are custom made. Not all of them are going to be installed and ready for this storm season. So what we're trying to do, number one, is make sure we have the pumping capacity we need ahead of time and a plan ahead of time. The second thing is the next plan will be a week before a major storm comes. We are working on a plan to get those pumps down here, get everything ready to where we don't have any flooding. And then we're working on a post-major storm plan. Hopefully we don't need any of these plans. And last is what I mentioned earlier, the permanent fix, making sure that all those funds that CPRA is letting us use for drainage, that we have all these pumps 100% operational, get a permanent fix, and put some checks and balances to make sure if one goes down that, whatever board, whoever's in charge of it, we're going to make sure that they are letting all the elected officials know that it's down and we need to work on it immediately. The last thing, I run my office with the help of Laura, open door policy. Whatever you guys want to talk about legislation, you have my cell number. I give my cell number out. Laura does a great job at the office, but whatever you need, we want to help. It's great. It has a lot of people have come to me and said we've been trying to get this done for a long time, and that's what I like to work on. I will touch on kind of the current status of like our national politics. You've seen different reports about the Minnesota. They had some assassinations in Minnesota for some state senator and a state representative. You may have noticed we're not posting as much on social media. Some of these are from concerns of putting out where you're going to be ahead of time. And, I always want to let you guys know everywhere and where we're going to be and what we're planning on doing. But, family safety comes first. And, there were two instances where I had personal instances and messages that I had to report to state police. So, we really don't get paid a whole bunch to do this job. And we try to do it to the best of our ability. But if you see that, just think about before what you read online and what you post online. It's a different world we live in, but we will adjust to that and make sure that we have and maintain our open door policy. And that's a part of this job I don't think a lot of people want to talk about is the emotion of it. Vinny and and Beryl sit on the education committee. We are in committee discussing, basically we are refereeing between two sides over very contentious issues. And these issues these are their people, it's the most important issue to them in their life. So sometimes we get in the crossfire, but I'll tell you, it hits home because you've got to go have those discussions at home. You know, beef up security for yourself, think of your family. So I think emotionally, you know, that's part of this job that really hit home for me this year, and just staying vigilant and in constant communication with our security team at the Capitol and all the resources we have to keep us all safe.